So this was Kersey, Colorado, January 13th, the town board meeting on the AVIS speeding camera, the radar system that's unconstitutional. As you clearly can see, the town people were really upset about what Kersey was doing, just making up laws as they go along. Another good person that showed up was Regan Benson from Denver. I highly suggest you follow her. She's really professional, knows what she's doing. Make sure that the government officials uphold the Constitution. And she's also a really good advocate for the homeless. I was really happy with the decision that the town board made, and they're refunding the $340 tickets. I wish they would totally abolish the AVIS system, but I guess people are only going to have to pay $40. But people need to start learning that these are unconstitutional and you don't actually have to pay them.
9, Clause 3 of the United States Constitution. You guys all got copies of it, so you can refer back to it. It says, no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. A bill of attainder is due process. 25 miles an hour and over is supposed to be a criminal offense, and they're supposed to have a jury of their peers. Ex post facto law means a law that you're passing after the fact. So that's just what you're suggesting here. The state law is pretty clear on 20 to 24 miles an hour over is $40, not $340. Plain and simple, black and white. I can read that law just as clear as anybody else, and it's not very vague, obscure, whatever you want to call it. It's plain and simply written so that everybody can understand it. There's nothing in the model traffic code that says that we're allowed, without points, to charge $340. So that's just my thoughts. You guys are opening yourself up to a bigger lawsuit.
Makes sense. That's true.
My name is Regan, again, for the record. First to point out, the chief of police and his staff are incompetent, and they don't even know that it's radar and not LiDAR. And so any citation couldn't possibly get a fair hearing if the people issuing and hearing them don't know what technology is even being used. While the city attempts to fix the program by adjusting the fee structure, the reality is that this amendment is nothing more than a fresh coat of paint on a legally condemned building. This program is not just flawed, it is statutorily unauthorized. You guys are going to get yourselves in bigger legal trouble. First, let's look at the numbers. The city proposes a charge of $340 for certain violations by reducing it to a 20 to 24 mile an hour citation and citing the existing fee schedule. While that might seem low, it is irrelevant because the underlying state law caps those specific assessments at $40. However, the legal issues run far deeper than the dollar amount. Under the state's AVIS automatic authorization, the power to cite for violations of 25 miles an hour or more is explicitly restricted. The statute states that the authorization does not apply to these higher speed violations except as specified in a very particular paragraph. The problem? That paragraph was repealed. By the letter of the law, this council currently lacks the statutory authority to vote on or enforce any ordinance regarding violations of 25 miles an hour or over. You are attempting to legislate in a vacuum where state authority no longer exists. Furthermore, as the new ordinance correctly points out, to abide by a new court ruling, the fine must not be more than punishment for state law. State law caps speeding fines at $300 max for 25 miles an hour and over, and about $230 max for 20 to 24. Your own fee schedule already breaks the law. Furthermore, we need to talk about the hourly billing of your vendor. The vendor claims we pay for time to process the tickets, yet data shows a consistent cost of $14 a ticket. This is isn't hourly service. It is a per-ticket commission disguised to circumvent state prohibitions on contingency-based law enforcement. If the billing is a sham, the entire contract is void, and the program is a predatory revenue scheme rather than a safety initiative. Perhaps most embarrassing is the lack of basic technical oversight. The police chief and his staff have repeatedly referred to this technology as LiDAR. It is radar. To pass this ordinance tonight is to invite a class action lawsuit. You're not fixing the program. You're documenting your own non-compliance with state law. I am calling on this council to do the only legal and ethical thing. Do not pass this ordinance and move to abolish the entire program immediately. Your citizens deserve, our citizens deserve a government that follows the law, not one that tries to find loopholes in its own incompetence. This brought to you by the very person that you went into executive session that sued you, Jared Morgan. And you blocked him from social media. I wonder why. I myself saw your scam job out here. I've seen some speed traps in the metro area. Because yes, it's a revenue scam. And guess what? You're not going to pay it. You're not going to collect on it because people are going to figure out that they don't have to pay it. I'm not an attorney. I'm not offering legal advice. But I would suggest that anybody considering paying one of these tickets seek legal advice before doing so. You cite me, you're going to be hunting me down. You go ahead and try to mail me one of those, and I'll have your ass in court. Thanks for your time.
Whew.
Alright, my name is Andy, for the record, and I domicile in Kersey. I'm not a resident. There's a big difference between residence and domicile. I highly suggest people look that up. The town of Kersey is usurping its powers for a money grab instead of protecting the people's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. Governments were granted powers by we the people through the Constitution of the United States. In my opinion, codes, statutes, regulations, and ordinances are not lawful and they are a part of the de facto government created in the 1871 Organic Act of Congress, which incorporated the United States as a corporation under Title 28, Section 3002, 15A. Towns could easily create an ordinance saying that no purple shirts are allowed. Just because a town makes a fictitious law does not mean it's lawful and serves to protect we the people's rights. How is this AVIS speed camera protecting the people who domicile in Kersey or who use County Road 29 to travel to their destination? The real problem is not with speeding. It is with people being in a rush and running the red light because they are too impatient to wait 2 to 3 minutes for the next green light. The town of Kersey, acting in a commercial capacity, should be subjected to the Clearfield Act or doctrine of 1943. The court hearings are a joke. They violate the Constitution by not allowing the people to face their accuser, as per the 6th Amendment. They also violate the 7th Amendment because where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. The court hearings also have a conflict of interest. The hearing officer or the town attorney is receiving funds from the town of Kersey, which makes them biased if the people are guilty or not. I have a feeling Kersey wants to keep speeding tickets civil because of the Civil Rules of Procedures 301, presumptions in civil cases. It means the accused would have to make a rebuttal to disprove the prosecutor's presumed fact, but it does not shift the ultimate burden of proof. If the ticket was criminal, the town of Kersey would actually not make any money because they would have to do work. It is sad Kersey is just making rules up as it goes along when not doing their job until 9 News actually steps in. The AVIS speed trailer is also a derelict vehicle under Colorado Revised Statutes 42-4-1802. Why is it always rules for thee but not for me? If I parked my trailer on the side of the road for 48 hours, it would be towed or impounded. I believe we the people have the right to decide if we want an unconstitutional big brother always watching speed camera placed in the spot to increase revenue. We have the right to a de jure government, which is we the people. It's sad the town of Kersey board doesn't even know how to do the proper rules and procedures to run the meetings. The difference between humans and animals is, animals do not let a fool lead the pack. And Gary, Nathan, and the other board members are always messing up on how to properly conduct the meeting and initiate new ordinances properly. It's sad they act like kids and are always looking to Rick Zier like he is God or daddy. Just tell them what to say. The problem with society is people refuse to properly know how to do something because they believe it is what the experts are there for. If you want to partake in government, maybe you should learn how it actually works and how to follow proper rules and procedures. It's like that Supreme Court Justice lady not knowing the definition of a woman because she's not a biologist. And it's also like the Stanley Milgram experiment of obedience in 1961 and 1962. You cannot say you messed up because you are not a lawyer. If you want to run government, learn how to run it, and show we the people you care by learning how to properly conduct a meeting without looking to Rick Zier as daddy. And I also believe an EMF test needs to be conducted on how much radiation is being emitted. I feel bad for the landowner that lives right next to it and the drivers that have to go by it every day. And why is it that we are allowed to talk, but 80% of the time the board ignores our questions and doesn't answer them? And you guys never listen to us. You guys have already decided probably what you want to do with this AVIS. And I don't believe this AVIS should be allowed because it's unconstitutional.
Well, that's fun. So, you talked about consensus from the community. Please give your name. Oh, my name is Jeff Gross, 801 7th Street. I've lived there for 27 years. And I lived in Colorado before that for another, 15 years. So, been in the state for 52 years. So you talked about a consensus and community, and I like that idea. And if I go back to the approved minutes from April, from you guys, and I read right here, approval of ordinance 2025-007, adopting the Kersey Municipal Court fine schedule as recommended by Teresa Abletto. Haley Curtis states we have a new judge with the resignation of the previous, and she would like to make changes to the municipal fine schedule to align with the state's fines. So when you voted yes for this in April, you thought you were aligning our penalty schedule with the state's. You tried to do the right thing. But somehow, a penalty that is $200 maximum with a $32 surcharge got changed to $340. So I don't know, I assume you didn't vote for that because you thought you were aligning with the state's charge. Because it said that right there in the notes. And so somehow you got hoodwinked into passing the $340 fine. And then when the chief went to go find it, which he applied incorrectly because that's for a penalty assessment, but nevertheless, that's what he found. It should have never been $340 in the first place, and it still should. And to back that up, if we just go look at this December 22nd, 2025 Supreme Court ruling, so that's only 20 days ago. This isn't old news, this isn't 1864, this is relevant. This 2025 Colorado 64 says that we don't have the authority to make our fines higher for the same crime that the state already has on the books. And so that fine for 20 to 24 miles per hour is only $200 and a $32 surcharge, period. And that's when you get caught by an officer, not an AVIS camera. The fine for an AVIS camera is $40. So our fee and penalty schedule needs to be changed right away so that when people come to court and they're caught by the cop with the radar gun, not the cameras, that they only face a $232 fine. Because that's what this ruling says, that we can't make our fines higher. And this is brand new. And they address this issue that we're doing, and a lot of other governments are doing. That's why this came out. It's a serious problem, and they're telling you to stop. And if I remember correctly, about an hour ago, you guys were telling me how important the Constitution is, Gary, and how we have to follow state law, and we can't budge, and we gotta have APUs up our butt. So this same law tells you, follow the law. But yet you'll probably ignore it. So I don't know why you have a double standard and you want the ADUs for tax revenue, but then you're not going to follow this law. I don't get it. So don't tell me the Constitution is important if you're not going to follow it for everything. So we need to change our fee and penalty schedule to the $232. And every other penalty that's in there that's been trumped up and jacked up needs to come back down. Because that's what this Supreme Court ruling right here says. And your judge, and he knows that. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. If I go and look at this law you're trying to pass tonight, and I go to number 3. The Kersey Police Department shall retain or ensure the town's vendors' records at 25 miles per hour over, but the Kersey Police Department shall reduce such violations to 20 to 24 miles per hour over. So you're telling me that we can charge $40 for 20 to 24 over, because that's what the law says, but then you're telling me we can charge $340. So you're assigning 2 different penalties for the same infraction. You're trying to say, well, it's $40, and then you turn around and say, well, it's $340. So I understand your desire to make people that are speeding faster go and pay a higher fine, but this isn't the way to do it. Greeley just says, if you're speeding 24 or less, it's $40, and if you're speeding 25 or more, it's $200. They don't get into all this nonsense about plea bargaining it down and keeping it civil and all. Like, you can't sit in your law and say that you're gonna rack it up as 20 to 24. That's what's getting us in trouble in the first place, and now you're trying to codify it. If everything we were doing was legal, we wouldn't need to pass this law. Like, we wouldn't need to twist reality and to try to make what we did right. This is a rearward looking law that's trying to get people out of trouble, when we should be looking forward and looking at how to do it the right way. I admit, the camera law doesn't say what to do with over 25 and over. That's obvious. Well, then that's when the homework starts. What should we really, really do? Not his plan. Just plea bargain it down. That was a bad plan. There's a better way to handle this. And I would really suggest that tonight you just consider this a first reading. You can do that. You can have a month to chew on this. You can get more input. You can get more data. And then you can read it again next month. Take a little more public comment. Input and then pass it in. But I think you need time to digest this. There's no way I could not be handed this tonight and then expected to vote on it. And I don't expect you guys to be able to do that either. That is asking a lot of anybody. And I don't care how many coach you for 45 minutes. I would give it a month. And I would come up with a different tact. Because putting 20 to 24 in here is gonna come back to haunt you. That's the problem. And furthermore, on number 7, you guys say currently the amount is $300 plus 40, provided that such assessed fine shall not exceed the fines charged or assessed by state for the same violation. Well, the fine for 20 to 24 is $200 if you're caught by the old-fashioned way, 40. So right here, you're saying we can't do it. We put that in the law to be tricky and convince these guys that, well, we wouldn't do it. We just said we're not going to do it. That's exactly what you do. You're charging more than you're supposed to. And he should have never found the $340 in there to charge. He should have found $232 and then said, well, I'm charging all those people $232. And it would have went over a whole lot better than this $340. That's what got us in trouble in the first place. And I'm not even saying we should charge the $242. I like what she said about how this law, unfortunately, limits law enforcement. It makes it a tough road for them to try to use it for 25 or above. Most people just give the $40 ticket, because you're still giving them a ticket for doing the 24. You're just not moving into that higher range, which, listen, if the law's so vague and ambiguous, how did you know what to do? How did you know to move forward? Is that what you do when the law's vague and ambiguous? You just march right forward into the unknown because you're smarter than the whole state? They didn't make a mistake. You guys, it's called willful ignorance. You are purposely evading the facts because it's inconvenient for you. It's inconvenient to go to county court 1,000 times in 60 days. It's inconvenient to split the money with the state. It's inconvenient to split the money with Weld County. That's called willful ignorance. And so you came up with this cockamamie law that's so long and crazy. I'm embarrassed to have it on. This thing is so stupid. I can't believe what our government's becoming here. What are you doing? I'm embarrassed. You're making a mockery property of our whole town. I've lived here 27 years, and this is the stupidest it's ever gotten.
That's right.
Stop! Now! That's it.
Thanks, Joe. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I've always remembered that in. Jason, that, I understand that this is, in you guys' minds, this is made to help save lives. I'm hoping that there's some data coming out to prove that there has been less accidents on Highway 34 and 49 as a result of this. But just know that you're being, our sovereign Lord has declared that we have a life with liberty and equal justice for all of us. And so not only are you guys going to be held accountable to our Lord, to your Maker, but by doing this and infringing upon our rights given by our Lord, you're also losing your qualified immunity. And you don't realize that, you might not realize that you have skin in this game, but as soon as you lose your qualified immunity, it goes further than that. I'm sure everybody knows that. I don't think that the lawyer has any skin in the game, because as a result of all this, with all these lawsuits, you're probably going to be the defendant in it and just make more money off of it. But you have to realize that you guys are all, or most of you are public servants, elected to do, you've all, well, not everybody, but everyone has, sworn an oath to this Constitution, and when you go against it and infringe upon our rights, you're held liable for that. So, just a reminder. If it can be proven that this is actually saving lives, then I think it would be worth it. But I don't think that there's any causation here. I brought it up the last time that this is a subjective interpretation of this. By giving out more tickets and making more money off of the people, that we're going to be saving lives. But until there's proof of that, I think that you should hold off. Give it some serious consideration. Thank you.
Anybody else out there?
Justin is my name. I'm up here today, lifelong resident of the Kersey area, and lately, every time I turn a TV on or get on the internet, this town is making the news in the worst way possible. And it's embarrassing. Every time you do it, each and every one of you sitting up there should be embarrassed every time the news comes on or you get on Facebook. It's not good. There's people that are saying, I don't even know where this town's at. I'm not gonna go there. My kid loves Kersey Pizza. I'm not gonna go there because they have a speed trap. They have a police department that's not up on the up. They're corrupt. People are saying, I'm not going to go to the hotel and stay at the hotel because my daughter is a UNC student. They're not going to come here because they have a speed camera and they look at you guys as being a corrupt government. And it's pretty obvious that you guys are. You're not being honest in anything that you're doing here tonight or with your own citizens of this town. And that's a sad thing in this country. You should be for the citizens, not fighting them and not trying to shove something down their throat that they don't like and they don't want. You're not listening to them. They are the ones that put you in power. They voted for each and every single one of you and put everybody up here. They trust you to do the right thing. And right now, you look awful and not doing the right thing altogether. I'm going to say one thing that the sheriff of Will County said. He said the best way to solve speeding and to get people's attention and to save lives is to have an officer out there giving the ticket. People are going to pay attention when you have an officer give you the ticket, not a machine. That's nothing. A $40 ticket is going to be nothing. That's not going to save any lives. And I bet you can probably attest to that as well. An officer giving a ticket is going to have more of an impact on somebody than a speed camera and trying to get $340 when you know that your limit is 40. You know that that is the state law. And here tonight, you're trying to change the law because you don't like the state law. So instead of trying to do the right thing, you're trying to circumvent it and go around it and make your own rule up that satisfies your need. That's not how government works. There are rules for everybody, and you're not exempt from them. I just want to let you know that everybody is looking for you to do the right thing in this town. And I am one of them, even though I'm not a citizen here, but I travel around and I'm from here. I look to you to make the right decisions, and I know that there's a person on this board that I admired as I was growing up, that they had rules for us to follow, and we didn't get to change them. And I'm glad that that happened. But you guys should do the same thing. Just because you don't like a rule doesn't mean you should change it, and especially breaking the state law. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, Andy. All right. People that are here, any discussion you guys want to have about this? Talk about it. Vote on it, do what you like. I've talked to a lot of people in this town, and I appreciate everybody who's showing up here tonight. The majority of the people that I've talked to want people to slow down out there, but I really do appreciate all of you coming out here and speaking up, I really do. That's my experience with this, right? It seems like everywhere I go, I was at the ribbon cutting for the school administration building last night, and I didn't have anybody come up to me and scold me about the tickets. In fact, I had several of them come up to me and ask me to stand our ground and try to get more. I understand what you guys
Where are they? Why don't you bring them here?
I get it, right? Not everybody wants to be on my news either, so, but that said, everybody here made great points. We need to make a decision on whether we even wanna talk about this. Do we wanna vote it down? Do we wanna keep moving forward with it?
What do you see?
I'm listening to you guys. So.
You really been hearing? They're gonna discuss if they wanna vote it down or move forward. Vote it down or move forward. Better start talking.
Well, not to defend anyone, the legislation that, when it was written was, as you all have stated, it was very vague. Everybody's going to interpret.
That's not what we said. We said it's not vague.
Everybody can understand it.
Okay, so is it just gonna be a one-sided thing here, Jeff, or can we all talk?
Please let Gary talk, guys. I wanted to let you guys all talk. Listen, so just give us a second.
He can talk, but he can't lie about what I just said.
Just give us a second up here, please.
So everybody's interpretation is going to be a little bit different from their different experiences and different research.
The truth is the truth.
You can always table this so you can have time to think about it. There's no reason you need to rush something. You already dug yourself deep into a hole. You know, when a person's digging deep in the hole, you might want to stop and reconsider.
We don't know what the board's gonna even wanna do with this, and so I appreciate that, Andy. So let's have our conversation up here so we can decide what we wanna do with this.
Let's listen to the laws.
So is it my turn?
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Go ahead.
I don't know, you're term limited, you weren't even voted. I don't know if you should speak.
Well, I guess that's it for, interpretation as well, Jeff. So, I'm like Nathan, I've heard and have things on my phone that people are saying, you know, this is a good thing, it's about time somebody takes a stand. If I hear what you guys are saying, I'm kind of torn as well, because even after pausing the tickets for the elevated price, there's been so many. It's crazy. The statistics that I've heard from the chief and the staff here, yep, things have slowed down. The accidents have lessened. I'm kind of torn in this. I don't agree with the way things are going right now. So I'm thinking that we need to have some kind of interpretation from the state, I'm kind of thinking that at this point in time, until there is some kind of legislation that's put on the table that could be more definitive for the 25 and over, that I think we should just go with the lesser speed and move forward with that.
So the
No,
$40,
no,
I'm saying, just
no.
stick with what the state said, it says on the 24, look, there's 24, like we have been doing recently.
A lot of, really good points, excellent. I think we've seen maybe some slowdown. I think you gotta let it go a little while to see how much so. You know, if we're gonna see data from 22, 23, 24, it needs to go a little bit before we know it's impacting accidents and all those things. That will come in time, I think. The 25 and over is an issue for sure. I do like, what Justin said a lot about having a live officer in, our toughest places. I really like a live officer. I respect law enforcement. I know people have different thoughts, but I know it's a tough job, and I thank them for what they do, but I would say a lot of tonight was really good to hear, and I will second Nathan. You know, why, you know, I don't recruit people to come to meetings to take a side, so a lot of people want the roads to be safer. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't. We have to decide if this is effective, if this is what we're getting, you know, what we want. I know for me, it was never about how much money we would generate. It was never about that.
Cody, how about you?
Kind of torn on this. 340. It's too much. I think we stick with the 40 for now. Like you say, let's just see what the chief has to say to us on slowing down and wrecks and everything else. Seems like it's taken away from people violating the speed limit and turned it into us, which, yes, it was us, but we thought it was fair.
Karen?
Well, I think we need to hold off on 25 and above until the government or whoever, writes the laws, comes up with a better standard for us to follow. I know that we were just trying to get people to slow down, but it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference. I know it did slow down for a while, but I've heard that it's back up higher than what it was, in December, so it's kind of discouraging. I just think that we are just trying to do the best that we can, and maybe we misstepped on how we come with that amount, and we're looking at trying to rectify that.
Well, again, I don't wanna justify anybody speeding. I mean, if you guys had my driver's ed teacher, I had to read every sign that was in front of me, and stuff like that, and I'm not saying that I don't ever do that. But I try pretty hard to be a good driver out there. I hate the idea of letting people off the hook for driving that crazy out there, but it seems that the state statute is, there's pretty much sign up on 25 and over, and I wish the state would do something more with that. I've been asked by people to try to force their hand. This being written was at a direction to just get it out there, because we weren't sure what we were gonna do with it tonight. So I appreciate all of you speaking. The fines, yeah, you know, I get it. To me, it seems like we're kind of letting people off the hook for just driving poorly, but people drive poorly around me all the time too, and I get that. My concern is always with the safety of the people out here. I've got a teenager that drives here. I drive that road every day. My wife goes into Greeley every day. And any of you that have been stopped at 49 and 34 have seen that same thing. I mean, the arrows were green the other day, and a semi went blazing through there like 50 miles an hour. It's a problem. And I know that the opinion that the radar doesn't effectively stop people, I get that too. I think that's a fair argument. I would also say that having an officer out there with as strained as all the different, the sheriff's department, the state patrol, our local PD and everything is these days, it's hard to justify having an officer out there all the time when we need them doing other things as well in this community. So, that said, I mean, it is problematic. I mean, if we pass this, we're poking the state, we're poking people that wanna possibly file a lawsuit at us. So, I can't make a motion, guys, but if we make a motion to pass this, we could also shoot it down. We could come back if we want to later. I don't really like that idea. I'd rather either destroy this thing now or carry forth with it, and I would support whatever the board chooses in that. And, but I can't make the motion, so you guys have to decide what you wanna do. You've heard the people that have shown up here. You've all talked to people within the community. And believe me, it hasn't all been opposite of what you guys have had. I've had those conversations too. But for me, the majority of the people that I've talked to, it's the opposite. So, but the points that were made were not wrong. So we gotta do something with this. And like I said, I don't really wanna see this stretched out. If we really feel like we wanna shoot this down, I think we make a motion to vote on it and make a motion to pass it, and then we can vote it down if that's where your guys' hearts are at right now. If you guys wanna move forward, you can vote that way too, but. Right now, if we stay with what it is, they're still getting the tickets for the 40, right? And I would reiterate again, it was not about the money out here. I know that that's out there, I get that, but that's not what anybody in this board was ever talking about with this, so. I personally, at this point of the night, I would like to shoot this thing down. And I don't know that I really care to come back to it anytime soon. I do not mind the idea of reaching out to the legislators again and asking for some clarity on this stuff, because they've left us in a void too with this. So. Like I said, you can make a motion to approve, but we do not have to vote for it, so.
So what if you make a motion to not approve?
We can do that too.
My recommendation is, if you're gonna take an action on it, move to approve it, and then if it's denied, it's denied. The problem is, if you move to deny and that fails, what's the effect of that? I'd probably urge you to still go ahead and follow that up with a vote motion to approve, to make it clear, so you guys can start in the first place.
I cannot make the motion,
No.
so I appreciate that.
So with approval, if you make a motion to approve and the vote is taken, do you, since you made the motion to approve, are you bound to vote either way?
It just closes it, assuming it was said.
Gotcha. Well, I'll go with what I've heard from other board members that, if it goes the way I think, I will stick my neck out and say, I, make the motion to approve ordinance 2026-0001, providing express confirmation of authority to use the automated vehicle identification system and associated civil processes for motorists traveling 25 miles per hour or more over the reasonable and prudent speed, directing resumption of such use, providing for a hearing officer system as a division of the town municipal court, and amending ordinance 2025-0012.
Second.
Meeker, Jones,
No.
Margareta,
No.
Susie,
No.
Rob.
No. Alright guys, the next thing we got on here was that addition, discussion of possible action on, concerning disposition of funds collected prior to November 18th, 2025 for AVIS protected motorists traveling 25 miles per hour or more over the reasonable and prudent speed. So this is the fines that we've already collected, right? So, we've got that money still. You just shot down trying to put that fee back into place. The question becomes, what do we want to do with that money? And I would put that out there. I mean, I wanted to talk about this tonight anyway, so that's why I asked them to add this to the agenda, because I want to know what you guys all think about this. That money's here. You're not sticking with it on this last motion that we just denied for that ordinance, so we're not doing that. We've got all that money from the past tickets that we put out there, so. I wanna know your thoughts on that, because if we decide to refund it, we need to give some direction to do that. There's gonna be some logistics involved with all of that too, so we have to consider those things as well. If you decide you don't wanna do that, I need those opinions today too. So, I'm gonna do kind of the same thing, I wanna know what you guys think, so. Cody, do you wanna add that first, I'll go with this plus item here.
Well, if we're not gonna move forward now, I don't think it'd be real fair to keep everybody else's number.
Okay. Karen?
Yes, if we're not going to go forward with the fines, then we need to find some way logistically or however to refund the amounts for the people who did it.
Okay. Jerry?
No, I agree. We already decided to move in a different direction. And I think the people that have already paid in the $340 penalty should be entitled to a refund.
25 and over, they need to be refunded.
When I say the logistics of all this, this, then you gotta consider how the staff is gonna be able to process that. So Stacy, you have any thoughts on that?
Just, yeah, give us direction and we'll figure it out, so. I think we have some processes in place where we can track it and make sure that we're getting the money back to the right people, because there is some complicated situations where rental car companies have paid and then charged people or some different things, but, we'll figure it out.
Ask them to reach out to us then, so we can
Yeah,
make it
we'll
easier.
put together a form so we can track it, we can record it, we can do all that stuff too, so we will have a form, and everything will be posted on the website. Make it very clear, we already have an email address, we already have a phone number for people to contact, if they have any issues with anything, so we'll take care of it, yeah.
I wonder, should we, if the board decides to go ahead and vote on this, can we come back with the how we're gonna do this maybe in February and just clarify that, or do you think we can just put that out there on the website and stuff, just so people can find us? Because if they're gonna reach out, we need to make sure, have your form number and all that kind of stuff from the citation and things along those lines, so that we can start pairing it up with what we need, and you guys might need more time to handle that, so.
It's up to you, I think we can figure out a process rather quickly, we have some Power Automate forms, we have the ability to put the forms on the website and to track it through an Excel spreadsheet and then track actions done on an Excel spreadsheet. It'll take some time to go through the systems and to line up, but if we request people to fill out a form with their citation number or whatever they have, we can make it work. I would rather start issuing money back sooner rather than later, if that's something that the board chooses to do, rather than waiting another 30 days. Because I have had people that have reached out and talked to us, and I said, in hopes that maybe a discussion would be held tonight to get some resolution. So, it's up to the board, but, we will find a way to do it and to contact those people or have them contact us with their citation number. We can post the process on the website.
Right.
We can inform the board about how it's going at the next meeting, but I would rather, get started sooner rather than later. So if you give us that direction, we'll move forward with it.
Alright, so I think if you guys wanna do this, if you wanna make a vote on that, then, I would say, in that, just make sure that we're voting to refund the money for everybody that's gotten one of these citations, and to please just keep your eye on the website, because we will put that process out there for everybody as the staff gets that put together. Because it won't happen right away, but will happen really quick.
And sweet.
You don't think so?
No, you can just.
Okay.
Leave to the manager to take care of it.
Okay, then that's on you guys again, if you wanna put that out there. And this would be for the citations prior to November 18th, 2025.
25 or over.
For 25 and over, okay.
Refund, LiDAR tickets prior to November 18th, 2025. Traveling 25 miles per hour or more.
Can I speak? Just real quick?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Cody said.
Board discussion first, you can open it up as
Okay. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's just that he rung a bunch of them up as 24, and so I don't know if your 25 and over counts. It should be more about the 340.
Yeah.
Anything that was 340. And then you probably keep $40 of all that,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Right.
That's-
I understand, so.
Okay,
So to amend that to the 340 prior to.
we are going to refund tickets of $340 prior to November 18th, 2025 by the LiDAR system.
Seconded, okay.
So they don't get anything?
Did you guys wanna talk about the $40, the extra $40 or not? We have a motion on it out there and it's been a second, so.
I do not wanna talk about $40.
Alright, so
Most time.
then
Yes.
Lucine,
Yes.
Baker, Margarita.
Yes.